Life is not always about a good platter, a relishing platter for everybody. For some or for many of us, life is always about making your own recipe and making it relishing up to your own choice. We are always given the adverse condition, the condition that we usually don't like, but we always have some goal, some aims, some destination to reach where we always want to reach. Hi, my name is Alok Joshi, and I welcome you all to this show, Alok Joshi Talk to Rock. As you all know, the show is all about the people who have struggled in their life, who had some goals in their life, and they are on the track of achieving that goal, or they have already achieved their goal. And post achieving that, they have some other or bigger goals in their life. So today's special guest is none other than Dr. Subra Mukherjee. Subra is engineering professional, and she's been into teaching, and now she is also involved into a startup. So without any further delay, let me welcome Dr. Subra Mukherjee. Subra, welcome to the show, Alok Joshi Talk to Rock.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a privilege to be here in the show, and I have also been following this show. So really, I'm excited to have a conversation with you. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me to this show.
Right. And as we were talking about before the show, Subra, you said life has always been a struggle for you, right? Looking at you now, I don't see any struggle, but it's always known by you only, right? How much you have struggled in your life, how was the hardship, and then the fruits that fetched by you. It's all about your determination and the struggle and the aim and the goal that you were always looking forward to. Why do you say that life has not always been the favorable thing for you?
Yes, sir. I would exactly like to quote what you said in the beginning, that for some people or for most of us, life is not rosy and we are not served things on a platter, but we make our own recipe. We work towards goal with all the hardships and challenges and sail through life. So my life has also been like that, right from childhood, born in a very lower middle class family, thinking about even graduation degree was difficult, and pursuing engineering was something just out of the vision at that time. So I couldn't even think of that, okay, I could one day become a doctorate in electronics and communication engineering, or all of that, whatever came later in life. Today, if I think about it, it's definitely a dream come true. But back then, with all the hardships and challenges that we grew up with. We were three sisters. I have two siblings younger to me. I'm the eldest one, and I have been brought up by my mother, who is a school teacher. She retired recently from school. So with that meager salary that she was earning from a private school then, with that, having the strong determination to send all of us to a convent school with the aim that if there is something that matters is education, and with the very strong firm belief that we would go a long way. So we started with that kind of thing, where maybe we went to several occasions with just one frock in childhood, or we never had the luxury of watching television at home until very late in life. I mean, class 8 or 9, I think we started watching television. Cable television was out of question. So that kind of things was luxury for us. Or reading old books. We did not have access to new books. We did not get, because we were studying in one of the best schools. That itself was a luxury for us. So with that kind of hardships we grew up with. But slowly, the hard work, the strong and firm belief of my mother, and we also wanted to become something in life. So with that firm belief, I kept on moving forward. And I also had one belief that if I really need to do something in life, I have to study very hard. And in class 10 board exams, I came second in the state board. So that was the first milestone, I believe, that gave me the confidence that irrespective of the financial background or the hardships or the struggles, I think I can do something in life. From there, I can say the first milestone which gave me a lot of confidence in life.
Right. So, like even achieving one little milestone gives a great boost to us. And basically, it's not a boost to us, but it's the boost to those dreams that we can think of. That yes, I have achieved something, and now I'm capable of achieving bigger things or more things in my life. So that's great, Subra. And as you told about how your mother reared you sisters, basically, and from the background of being a private school teacher, so that I can understand how difficult it is. But it's all about your determination. You thought about something and you came out of your own hardship. That's great. So, how was your journey about after this strength, having one milestone of this achievement, and then obviously you would have taken the science stream and then getting into the engineering. So, how your journey was after completing your engineering?
Okay, after engineering, the journey from 10 to 12 choosing science stream was comparatively easier because of my results. There were many colleges which were offering scholarships to me to go and study in the class 11 and 12, so in their junior colleges, and also that part was literally little bit easier than the next part, that was engineering, because getting into engineering, one thing is not easy because you need to get a lot of coaching or something, and we had absolutely no money, no financial help to go for coaching or even buy those textbooks for competitive exams. All we had, or all I had, was the normal education that I got in class 12. With that, I had to go for my engineering entrance with a lot of hard work, and whatever things fell into place. But there were a lot of apprehensions from the society because a girl from such a economically struggling family going for engineering, so that itself is something to be questioned. But yes, I went on for engineering, and then in 2008, in my final year of engineering, or rather my pre-final year towards the end, I got placed in a top IT firm back then, and it was offering me good package, good salary, and I was posted in Navi Mumbai. But then suddenly, on one hand, this was the societal norm that, okay, you have done your engineering and now life is set. You get a good job in an IT firm, and it's all about growth in that field, getting to stay from a very small town in Nagaland and then going to Navi Mumbai. So it was all like a dream come true and things falling into place. But somewhere down the line, I was not satisfied. Something inside me was telling me this is not what I was meant to be. I did my engineering. I graduated with very good marks. Everything was fine. But that job in the IT company was not something I was looking for. I wanted to do something in education, in teaching. And it took me a lot of guts to face the society and convince my family as well that I am going to reject this job offer and try my luck in teaching profession. So that was a big decision, but again with strong belief and with a lot of struggles and everything, I knew that maybe I would have to go for at least 3 to 4 months jobless because I had to search for a job in teaching, and I didn't know whether they would accept or what was the situation out there then. But still, I went on, and yes, I got job in a very well-known university in Northeast, and it was a very good job, and they were offering me salary almost at par with the job that I rejected. It took me around 3 to 4 months, but then yes, I got it.
Great. So what makes a person different, that following your passion, although the lucration which you get, and that too especially when you have struggled a lot, right? And suddenly after your hardship, after your good marks or your campus interviews, you got a very good organization, that too in the IT sector, which is the really hot cake for everybody. And every electronics engineer or every software engineer who looks forward to these companies only. And after you getting the dream job in the company, you rejected it. So that really makes a person different because somebody wants to follow his or her own passion. So that's really a difficult situation, especially because you are passionate, so you would have definitely accommodated yourself according to that passion. But especially for your family, like even for your mother who thinks that my daughter is getting settled, rejecting that job and just following your passion, that makes a little bit difficult. That's what I think you must have been into that mindset that know what comes after this, I have to follow my passion. So after that, how was the life? Even because even I would say that doesn't make you even different. What's following further, that makes you even more different. That having your dream job, rejecting it, then having your dream career, and after that, even something was more in the destiny for you. That is your startup.
Yeah.
So the audience who will be listening to us, so they will be even surprised after having everything of whatever you wanted, that you wanted something else in your life. So what made you to have your own startup, and what is your startup about?
Actually, I would like to, even before answering, I would say that I have always been a little apprehensive of too much comfort zone, because that struggle was there right from the very early stage, maybe 6 7 years from that time. I've started seeing struggles, and maturity came in very fast. So comfort zone always gives me a sort of apprehension that, okay, is this life getting stagnant? So the moment I feel very comfortable with a job or anything, or life seems very stable, I get actually tensed that, okay, maybe I have to go for the next thing. So that was how it happened. uh, 2010 I joined my first job in teaching, and I worked for more than a decade there, with getting promotions one after the other, from an assistant professor to a senior assistant professor, and then even in senior there is different grades. So going for that, completing my doctorate degree in engineering, masters I got double gold medal. So all that I was doing with my job, I was again getting a double gold medal in teaching, I mean masters, and going for teaching. That itself is also a big thing according to people. So yes, now my family was happy after a lot of struggles when I convinced them that yes, this is what I wanted in life. I wanted to teach. I was doing well. Things were really going pretty well. And in 2014, I got one promotion, 2017, another one. So I was doing well. I was climbing the ladder of success. I had published several research papers or in scientific journals that an educator is supposed to do.
Right.
So all of that was there. I was doing wonderfully well. But then suddenly again, I say that the moment I get too much comfortable or too much certainties come in, I feel little like, I call it the treadmill syndrome. In treadmill, we keep on running, but we don't
Yes.
reach somewhere. So
Right.
I feel that kind of thing in my life, that I was running on a treadmill for a long time, and now I wasn't reaching somewhere. I felt I was happy with my profession, everything was fine, but now again I started thinking in terms of entrepreneurship. I wanted to do now something on my own, and that thought process started around 2018 end or 19, that I really need to do something on my own. And by the time my PhD was also over, so during my PhD, I made a device for sensing soil fertilizers or soil fertility and all of that, a sensor, electronic sensor, which can be used in agricultural setup. So that prototype was there. Things were set, research, validation, all of that I have done during my teaching profession. So now I wanted to capitalize it. I was thinking of how best I can use it to actually create a firm where we can help the farmers, and who knows, in future we could be one of the best in the Northeast and in the
Yeah.
country maybe. So with that thought in mind, I started, along with two friends of mine, I started pitching to different investors. And it took a lot of struggle again, because there were like thousands of applicants, and for each of the investors that we go, they won't be easily uh, they won't easily give the money or the investment. They won't make easy investments. So that went on for a couple of years. Like 2019, I tried a lot. Then in 2020, amidst the pandemic, I made a complete plan, a business model, and everything. I worked upon all of that while I was still on the job, and I pitched to a startup or a challenge, open challenge, that was organized by Government of India.
Okay.
That was last year. And I think out of 1500 or around 1,000 applicants who have applied for this, only 5 were selected in the final round. And I was so glad and delighted that our company, that we named it as 3Pulse Solutions, actually got through that. And we got the investment for the startup from the government of India, which in itself is a strong validation that whatever the work that we were trying to do for the farmers of our region and trying to use technology with the farming solutions. So that thing was there in our mind. And yes, that validation from the government plus getting the funding. And now we have a company in place. We are starting in that journey. So again, it's a completely different thing. But yeah, that's how I say that I always love exploring newer dimensions and stretching myself to the best of my possibilities.
Right. And as you said, you are always worried about the comfort zone. So might be 5 years down the line, we'll have one more interview where you will say you are starting something else also.
I just can't guarantee that. Yeah, you never know.
So that's great. And for Subhra, things don't stop over here. Subhra started with a very humble background, completed her education with a gold medal, then got into education, now into entrepreneurship. That doesn't stop Subhra to get settled. Subhra is now into authorship also. Subhra is about to author 2 to 3 books. And very soon we might have one more interview specifically for the books only. So what made you to author the books, Subhra? What made you to think about authoring the books?
Actually, if I talk about writing is something I have been doing all the while, right from I think class 5 or 6. I was always interested in writing articles for my school magazines. Then it came even in my college. I was the student editor of the college magazine, and then later on for the organization that I was teaching, even there I was the faculty editor for almost 4 successive years for the university magazine. So writing and me, we were always associated. So somewhere down the line, it was there in the mind that yes, someday I would author a book. And last year when I got some time, and there were so many books which were not completed, I have written the half draft and all of that. Also, people who know me, or I mean, they would know that I'm a very passionate mind mapper. Whatever I do, I mind map them on the paper first, and then I execute the plan, whether it's my entrepreneurship journey or whether it's my teaching career or even my job interviews that I gave before during my college days. So mind mapping is something I always do. So my authorship journey actually sprouted from there. So I have actually written 3 books, which are all on the different stages of publication. And if I just give you a gist, 3 books are from 3 different genres. One is from the love of telling stories from my observation in day-to-day life. One is from the love of mind mapping that I have, one book. And the other one is, of course, in teaching, I have learned so much from the youth whom I have taught. And I have seen that the world has gone through a paradigm shift in teaching, particularly in the pandemic. So I wanted to write something about that also. So yes, these 3 books are something in that line, and I would be very happy to share once they are in the market. I would be very happy to share more about it in future.
Sure. We will be curious about knowing the content as well as the takeaways out of these books.
Sure.
As while we were discussing about, there is one more piece of treasure that came out of Subhra's tremendous mind, that is mind mapping. She is an expert of mind mapping also. So one thing, Subhra, which I would like to know from you, having all these things in your mind, where these things come from when you observe your mind. So you are into so many things. So what do you think? What is the source of all these things coming one after another? So what is the real mentality or real mindset of a person who can think of so many things one after another?
Well, I think it's a very challenging question, but if I really have to look deep within and answer this, I would say in one word that I believe in lifelong learning. I never say that I know everything. We are all in the process, and particularly me, I believe that there is always so much to learn from the other person. And it is with that mentality I wake up every morning, that what is there to learn. And I call myself a student of life, a lifelong learner. And with that, whatever comes in, I try to just learn from there, experiment with it. If something good comes out, I try to share my knowledge with the world. And that's how it has always been till date.
Right. And I think one thing which you have also learned to fight with the adverse conditions. I
Yeah.
know in one of your videos you said you were not well almost for 1 year, and for some time you got hospitalized also.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a very tedious job, and when it's very frustrating when your health is not good, because I have also been experiencing this. So having the ill health for almost 1 year, and then having that confidence that you will come out of it and you will do wonders, that also takes so much of confidence and so much of uh, the mindset that you will come out of it, you will come victor, and once again flourish and brighten yourself.
I think that would, sir, I would somehow say that that is something I got from my mother also, that we believe in, there's a term called anti-fragility.
Yeah.
In the book by Nassim Taleb, he mentions it very nicely that, people say that we are resilient, and resilience is the power or the ability to resist any sort of struggles in life. But me and my mother, or maybe it was because of all that we have gone through in life, somehow we feel that every time life gives us some adverse situation, that moment, of course, we also have our hard times. There are times when things literally seem dark and we think that it's completely going to be dark in future, but then the next moment we bounce back and we say that yes, we try to be as much as anti-fragile as possible, so that whatever life gives us, we bounce back and get better.
So thank you very much for your sharing, Subra. What I take with this interview is like life situations or conditions cannot decide your future. They can only decide what you can decide in your mind. So,
Absolutely.
and as per your own decision, you go ahead in your life, and you flourish your own garden out of this deserted land, and whatever the situations you just face, and your life journey is the exact replica of this mindset, that you can make whatever you want out of the situation you get in your life. Because your phases of life, they tell us that if you are determined, if you are hating the comfort zone, you can think of various things, and you can learn from each and everybody out of say out of whatever you get in your life, and you can decide where you want to go. And if you're determined, you will definitely reach there somewhere or sometime.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's great about you. Anyway, I was just listening to you. You learned something about youth. You're not out of youth, and I'm learning a lot of things from you. Yeah, of course, you are a professor, so definitely you can talk about your learning from you. For me, you are a youth, so I'm learning a lot of things from you. So all the best to you for your venture, and all the
Thank
best
you.
for your upcoming books. We'll definitely have one more review for these books whenever they get published.
Thank you.
For the what will be your last suggestion for this interview to the youngsters?
Okay. Being an educator, from that point of view, if I say, because over the past decade or more than a decade, I have been in contact with a lot and lot of youth. And one thing I love about youth is the enthusiasm they have, the dynamic personality they have. So with all of that, if they just add one more quality, that irrespective of what happens, they will not compromise on their dreams. It may seem like dark, but it's only a tunnel. At the other end of the tunnel, there is light, and somehow we have to push ourselves, be consistent in our efforts. Hard work is required. People say that there are shortcuts, but I don't believe, because I haven't come across any shortcuts. One thing that pays off at the end is consistent work, towards one particular goal, when we do it continuously over a period of time, success will come sooner or later. So the youth, particularly with so much of dynamism and enthusiasm, if you add this quality, that no matter what, how much ever dark the vision seems, but we will move to the other side of the tunnel and yes, get success in life. So yeah, that's the message, that perseverance is the key.
Right. So the passion with perseverance and consistency, that's
Yeah.
the best choice or to achieve your goals. So thank you very much, Subhra, for your so many of the learnings, and these learnings will become teachings for some of the viewers, especially youngsters who are dreaming something in their life. Thank you very much for being here on this show, Alok Joshi Talk to Rock, and we look forward to your more bigger success and the books. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure to be a part of this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Alok Joshi, the student of public speaking and human behavior, and we'll meet again in the one more episode of Alok Joshi Talk to Rock. Till then, thank you very much.